Hello, everyone. I'm here with Duncan. You join us from United Kingdom. So, Duncan, tell us what are the 5 steps to become any habits?
Welcome to Entrepreneurs Are Leaders podcast with Harry Sardinas. Interviews with world's most influential entrepreneurs that share tips about how to grow your business exponentially. Charismatic speaking, leadership, branding, marketing strategies designed to help you monetize your knowledge, find true happiness, and manifest your goals and dreams.
So first, you've got to figure out what your number one problem is. Most people, they want to be more healthy, so they think, what I'll do is I'll get myself one of those really big water bottles and I'll drink more water. And they do, and it doesn't make any difference because they haven't solved their biggest problem. So you've got to sort of start at the bottom and work out what is going to have the most effect. Now, I use this kind of unleash well-being system, which took me about 20 minutes to explain. But if you start with the bigger things first, it has more impact. So the change that you make feels like you're actually achieving something. Doing something small, it won't feel like you're making any difference. So number one, work out what your number one problem is and go off and solve that. Number two, just focus. Pick one thing at a time. You might be a lot better at multitasking than me. You might be a lot smarter than I am, but I am a bear of very little brains. So for me, it's always work on one thing at a time, get that sorted, and then move on to the next thing. So number two is pick one thing. Number two is number one, really, isn't it? So number three is just then start to get to grips with your beliefs. This is the bit that most people miss. You know, all of your listeners, they understand that the results they get are driven by the behaviors that they do. You know, what they do leads to what they get. They know that. Unfortunately, the thing they don't realize is what drives their behaviors. And that is their beliefs. So getting to grips with your beliefs, examining your beliefs, actually looking at them, you know, are they true? Most people believe an awful lot of stuff that isn't entirely correct. And if you don't believe me, just to ask an audience of people whether the Great Wall of China is visible from space. You know, the vast majority of them will tell you it is. How do they know? Have they been to space to check? So we often believe things that aren't true. We also often believe things that aren't particularly useful and they're not helping us become the kind of people that we want to be. So getting to grips with those beliefs is absolutely going to change your behavior. The other thing that you need to sort of do just to kind of like help that sort of implement that change is work on how you think about something. So getting to that point between an event happening and you responding to it. There is always a gap. Most people don't realize this. Most people think that the event happens and they just react to it and they don't really have any choice. But you always have choice. And if you can learn certain techniques to get between that event and that response, then you can change it. You can change the way you're thinking. You can start to change the way you're acting. So your thoughts are the next major thing. Well, that's number 4. And then number 5 is celebration. Most people just don't celebrate anywhere near enough. We get to the milestone and we move on and we look for the next thing. But you really need to embed this celebration in absolutely everything that you do. And this is, you know, borne out by my personal experience, but it's also been borne out by the research of people like BJ Fogg. BJ Fogg runs the Behavior Change Lab in Stanford. He's quite famous. Just in case your listeners haven't heard of him, they will have heard of some of his former students. They started this little photo sharing app called Instagram. So, you know, his kind of behavior change stuff, it does work. It's very effective. And it's all built on celebration, because if you celebrate, then you enjoy it. And if you enjoy it, you keep doing it. If you don't enjoy it, then you aren't going to keep doing it, are you? And if you don't believe me, just go to any gym in anywhere in the world in January and you'll see a load of people that don't enjoy it and stop round about the 7th of January. So you've got to enjoy it. Find a way to celebrate. That's number 5 and possibly even the most important.
Most important. Duncan, I think that's really powerful. Now, I love the title of this black book that you have behind, Real Men Quit. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your story. Why Real Men Quit?
Well, yeah. So I'm not sure I necessarily count as a real man. I'm a bit kind of like, I'm a touchline tough guy, you know. I'm a bit pretend macho, but yeah, I definitely used to do the drinking bit. And actually, I mean, that's one of the things that I come across quite a lot. For me, you know, drinking was the one thing that made me feel like a man. It was the one thing that made me feel tough. And that's an experience I've heard from a lot of other people. But yeah, I mean, I started off drinking when I was a teenager. It was all very social, happened at parties. It all seemed good fun, didn't it? But as time went on, the amount of people that I drank with went down and the amount I drank went up. And, you know, in the end, I was sat on my own drinking a couple of bottles of wine every night. And it was not very much fun. You know, I was miserable. I wasn't achieving anywhere near what I should been achieving. I wasn't behaving in the way that I wanted to behave. I wasn't the person that I wanted to be. And I turned it all around. And
it's really difficult, Duncan, to overcome this addiction because alcohol is one of the hardest, probably people say that it's worse than even drugs, you know, because it goes into your blood and it's really, really, really difficult. So how you manage to overcome this addiction?
Oh, it's simple. Number one, I prioritized, didn't I? I decided that the biggest problem in my life was alcohol. Number two, I just focused on that. I didn't try and do anything else at the time. I just tried to stop drinking. Number three, I got to grips with my beliefs. I believed that alcohol helped me to socialize. It made me creative. It relaxed me. And I asked myself, you know, like, is that true? And is it helping me become the person that I wanted to? Once I'd done that, I did a little bit around managing the thoughts. And you know what? Number five, I celebrate. I still celebrate. I celebrate every day.
That was amazing.
I cannot express how happy I am.
Duncan, do you still go out with friends and drink 1 pint of beer?
No. I still go out with friends. I mean, I still go out a lot. I still socialize. I drink fizzy water.
Really? Wow, that's how the strong belief you really change your mind completely when it comes to alcohol, and you said that's enough and it's enough forever. So you
I wouldn't enjoy it, and I know I wouldn't enjoy it. So why would I do something that I know
you're not gonna enjoy it? Yeah. In the end of the day, you go out with friends and you drink sparkling water and fizzy water, and the most important is to have a laugh with your friends. And to stay with
them. You see, that's the thing I always used to miss when I was drinking. I always used to think it was the alcohol that provided the fun. And, you know, 9.5 years without drinking, I can tell you for sure, it's the people. It's the people that you're with. That's what's fun. That's what you enjoy. You just happen to be drinking at the same time.
Some of them drink, some of them cannot drink. Even, you know, the workshops that we do here in London, speakers and leaders, right? We play a lot of music. It's very immersive, yeah? And the people have so much fun that they don't even want to leave the room. It's how I'm sending home and they staying hanging around, say, come on, go to sleep. We have tomorrow a second day. And we don't give any alcohol to anyone. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's just fun, and it's proven that you can have a lot of fun and your friends will love you, yeah? And you think and this comes a little bit because of significance. You know, when you were young, you know, some people. I used to smoke when I was young. Yeah, I was a headache to quit. It was difficult. Yeah, but again, you know, when you're young, you want to get a little bit of significance, so you smoke but then the thing becomes, my goodness. The habit stays there in your mind, and is you have to exactly to go to the process that you describe. Yeah. So you have to go actually to reprogram yourself and change the belief from the new belief. But it's actually, Duncan, let's go a little bit more deeper, because study has shown that people, when you take the decision, it's not already even in your conscious mind. It's already in the unconscious mind. Yeah. Like, for example, everybody, all the smokers, yeah, they know that smoking is bad for them. You ask them, they all will tell you they're conscious that this is bad for them. But still they continue smoking. because it's triggering that emotion from the unconscious mind, right? And this is where when the habits become very, very difficult to overcome, is because you have to transform not only the way that you thought conscious, but also in your unconscious level, you have to replace that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really a matter of making that unconscious stuff conscious and
Yes,
examining
I
it
agree with
and
you.
looking at it. And
So
I
how
mean,
you
I
did it?
had to,
How you did it? How you make the conscious? How you talk with your unconscious mind to make them conscious that you shouldn't be drinking anymore? Because that
I'll give you an
conversation is
example.
tough. That conversation is very difficult.
Yeah, I'll give you an example that happened to me like 2 days ago. I was talking to this lady. She vaped rather than smoked, but it's all the same
Maybe it's
difference, isn't
worse.
it? Well, yeah, it
Well,
is because you can
because
do it
because
more.
you
So
always you
yeah,
think that enough, but you consume
yeah.
actually because it doesn't
So
finish.
she was very, very heavily addicted to nicotine, and vaping a lot. Really, so she kind of comes on, and I say to her, "All right, so why do you vape?" She said, "Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, it really helps me and it supports me. Yeah, it really makes my life work." And then I said to her, "Okay, so why do you want to stop?" And she was like, "Oh, I hate it. It's controlling my life. It's ruining everything that I'm doing." And I'm like, okay, look, that's the discrepancy, isn't it? You talk on the one hand like it's the best partner you've ever had. It's like your dream boyfriend. But then on the other hand, you talk about it as being basically what amounts to an abusive relationship. So what we need to do is just need to work out which one is which. You tell yourself this story about how it's a great boyfriend, but actually it's an abusive partner, and simply discussing it, really kind of bringing it out into the open and helping her to see that discrepancy from what she's been saying and thinking for years and years and years and her actual experience of it. That is enough to bring the unconscious stuff to the fore, get rid of it, come up with a new way of thinking, a new set of beliefs, and move forward. And she's not vaping anymore.
Do you think that she's not vaping anymore? That's fantastic. Yeah. Do you think that when people take that decision, they can quit immediately, or they start to reduce the amount of doses until they finally quit?
Yeah, so I would advise, with the vast majority of things, definitely smoking and vaping, just cut it out. But you've got to do the work first. So you've got to go through that process of, accepting that it's your biggest priority and it's the thing that you've got to deal with now, going through the beliefs and learning the thought management techniques, then stop doing it. If you try and stop doing it right at the start, it just makes that process really, really difficult. So go through the process and then stop completely. Don't worry about it. You'll be absolutely fine. And like, I work with hundreds of smokers every year, so and vapers. I can tell you that method works. I have no doubt about it. Alcohol is slightly different.
Very difficult, more difficult than
it can be. The problem with it is I have never met any smokers who enjoy it, who actually get anything out of it, and who don't want to stop. I know a few people, my wife included, who actually drink in a very moderate amount. So they will typically drink no more than one drink at a time. They will typically drink once or twice a week, and they will often have weeks each month where they don't drink at all. So they don't ever
but there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong to drink. No. That's why I ask you, do you drink occasionally? Because after you quit, yeah, and if you like wine, right, one glass of wine is no big deal. It's actually, some studies said that it's healthy, right?
I wouldn't agree with the healthy bit.
You don't want to go there, eh? Well, you don't want to do anything with alcohol, yeah?
But it's not true. I mean, I can talk for hours on the studies and all of that sort of stuff. But yes, I agree. As somebody who totally doesn't drink, I think there is a way of drinking that is low risk. There's no risk drinking, but there's a low risk kind of drinking that I think is perfectly normal and acceptable. And there are people that do that. There are a lot less of them than you would think, but it is possible to drink like that, which means that a lot of the people that drink heavily think that their drinking is okay. And that, I think, is what makes it more difficult, because we see these people who actually don't have a problem with it. It tends to make us think we don't have a problem with it, or it makes us think we could get to a point where we could drink like that and not have a problem with it. I don't think there is really a way that I could do that. That's why I don't drink, because I know if I have one, I'll drink lots. And there are a lot of people that get to that point. I would argue you could say up to about 40% of the population are at that point where they really, what they need to do is stop drinking completely.
Stop drinking at all. Yeah.
Most of them don't want to. So a lot of them will do dry January and they'll think this is great. I'm in control. And then they'll drink a bit less during February. It will creep up in March, April, May. By the summer, they're drinking.
By Christmas, they're going wild. Yeah.
Exactly. By the summer, they're going wild. By Christmas, they're back in that same point of absolutely hating it and really wanting to stop.
Yeah.
And it's not a particularly pretty cycle. But because we see these people who aren't drinking very much and, seem to be perfectly happy with it, we think that we could do that. At some point,
think, Duncan, the first thing that we have to be clear, to clarify this for all our listeners here, is that the alcohol is an extremely addictive substance. Yeah. And I don't think that on the same way of nicotine. Yeah. There are substances that are extremely addictive. Yeah. And people go there and they think, oh, okay, I'm drinking a beer, or I'm drinking this, like they're drinking water. That is okay. And it's not the same thing. They are very extremely addictive substances that when you consume more, that's why I ask you, because I know this is difficult, because these compositions, they go to your cells, they go to you inside your body, they release some hormones or some from your brain about pleasure and everything, and then it becomes a pattern, right? And it's really, really difficult to overcome. The other thing, Duncan, that I did when I was smoking and I quit, I took the decision. I did exactly what you said. I took the decision, I reprogrammed myself. But I remember I was smoking like one packet a day, telling you a long time ago, 15, 20 years ago. And then, but when I decided to quit, this is what I did. I'll change it from packet of cigarettes, to rolling tobacco, and when you have a packet of cigarette, after you finish the cigarette, I have to go and buy. And you only have two problems, you need to buy the cigarettes, or you cannot smoke if you run out of cigarette, or if you don't have a lighter, So these are two problems that are easy to solve, Now rolling tobacco is completely different ballgame. Because rolling tobacco, you need the filter, you need the paper, you need the thing to put inside, you need a lighter. And I remember that when I changed to rolling tobacco, and because you roll it yourself, you put less, because you're doing it yourself and you don't know how to do it. So I didn't realize that gradually, I decreased the level of nicotine intake in 2-3 months dramatically, going from a packet of cigarette to this rolling tobacco, because I remember that was a nightmare, So I turned the pleasure into a nightmare, I said, I'm not going to buy cigarettes anymore, but now I'm buying this rolling tobacco and it's a nightmare. When I don't have the filter, I don't have the paper, I don't have this, the thing falls down, it doesn't stick properly, the light, it doesn't work. When I smoke in halfway stop. So the whole process of enjoying an amazing cigarette became a nightmare, and that helped me a lot to actually get rid of the addiction. But again, that's why I was asking you about is somebody, they can go gradually to this process. I know that alcohol is a little bit more hard, because like I said, you can it's better to take the decision. Regarding with your clients of vaping, that's the issue that I have with vaping. I mean, It does. This product has nicotine. The issue with this one is sometimes I saw an advertising the other day, like it has like 200, 250 proof or something like that. It said that
Yeah, so your
the thing
standard,
doesn't finish, right? So you actually smoke a lot, and but you have it with you, and it doesn't finish. In the long term, is worse, right? Regardless, a lot of studies are saying that that is more healthy. A lot of people, they're saying that vaping is actually healthy than smoke. So what do you think?
well, so vaping is not as bad for you as smoking cigarettes, but then again, very few things in life are as bad for you as smoking cigarettes. It's but the analogy I would use is it's like smoking cigarettes. If that's hitting yourself repeatedly in the head with a hammer, vaping is just finding a slightly smaller hammer. And I can guarantee you that vapors hate vaping the same way that smokers hate
Absolutely.
smoking. The problem with vaping is that, as you point out, those little things, they've got a lot more nicotine in them. So one of those disposable vapes is the equivalent of about 2 packs of Marlboro Red. So many people that I meet, they'll go from smoking 10 cigarettes a day and they'll maybe be smoking Marlboro Gold, which have got stronger filters on them. So you get less nicotine from them. So they'll go from maybe smoking 10 Marlboro Gold a day to smoking one of those disposables a day. So they've effectively quadrupled the amount of nicotine that they've put in their body. And, as with anything, it's got a dose response relationship, hasn't it? The more you put nicotine into your body, the more you feel the need to put nicotine in your body. And that's why we're seeing people who went from being on the lower end of the smoking scale to just becoming massively addicted to vapes. And I every time I hear people who vape talk about it, they talk about the slavery of it. They talk about being controlled by it. They talk about the misery of it. Even if it was healthy, even if it was without health problems, which it incidentally isn't. The only reason why people currently think it's not without health problems is like nobody's done it for 20 years. As soon as you get people who've been doing it for 20 years, it's all going to come out. I mean, they're already starting talking about things like popcorn lung and, specific new ways of screwing up your lungs that we've managed to invent from vaping. It's like, it's not a good idea. Nobody needs to do it. The best thing to do is just to stop. That's one of the messages that I'd love to get out to people. Stopping drinking, stopping smoking, it's a lot easier than you think. You just have to go about it the right way. Most people fail not because there's anything wrong with them or because it's hard. They simply don't go about it the right way. Most people, it's like they're trying to climb Everest, and they haven't even packed. It's not that they haven't even packed any warm clothes. They're trying to do it naked.
So then, Duncan, let's talk about the other type of addictions, that they are as dangerous as what we covered today, but nobody talks about, We're talking about addiction to sugar and addiction to carbs, Yeah. Look at me, I love carbs, That's why I'm slightly chubby. So, because people don't talk about this, But sugar is a big addiction, right? And carbs also, I'm telling you from my own experience, because when I'm eating, I love rice. But you know what? When I don't have rice, I find pasta. And when I don't have pasta, I'm looking for the pizza. I'm always looking and then bread. I love bread. Actually, everything that has carbs, I love. There is nothing that has carbs that I don't love. I love pizza. I love bread. I love rice. I love pasta. Everything that have, and and also sugar. People are addicted to sugar as well. I'm not a sweet person, honestly. I eat a little bit of sugar, not too much. So tell us about this, because these addictions, nobody said that. Nobody talks about anything. When you buy the packet of sugar or carbs in the supermarket, you don't have a photo that can give you a heart attack or become diabetic and things like that. So tell us a little bit about that and how to overcome these addictions also, because I think that sugar addiction and carbs is really tough to overcome also.
Yeah, so occasionally I will say that caffeine is the world's most widely
Caffeine.
consumed.
We forgot about that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Occasionally I'll say that it is the world's most widely consumed drug, and people will go, "Yeah, but what about sugar?" Now, to just like, I think there's something that most people miss about carbohydrates. There are three types of carbohydrates. There's the very fast acting ones,
I love all of them.
which sugar is a type of. And then there's the more starchy ones, which you get in things like bread and pasta and rice.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's it's commonly known as fiber. It's a type of carbohydrate, and it's what vegetables are made of. And I think we are in danger of demonizing carbohydrates when actually carbohydrates are quite useful, because that's what fruit and vegetables are made of. And we really should be eating more fruit and vegetables. So I'm glad that you love all carbohydrates, because that means you're eating plenty of broccoli.
Yes,
right?
I that's correct. I'm eating a lot of salad and fruit as well because I love carbs. I eat them in the whole extent.
Yeah, I know what you mean though, because I mean, I eat a lot of fruit and vegetables, and I do like mango, and I do maybe eat a little bit too much mango, but I've never found myself eating mango in a really compulsive way. Like, I just kind of need more and more and more of it. Whereas I absolutely, definitely have found that eating, refined white pasta.
Oh, absolutely. Pasta.
Yeah, pizza. I mean, I still eat quite a lot of whole grains. So I'd eat whole grain pasta. I'd eat brown rice, and I don't find myself eating those in quite the same way. And then, of course, you get all the way up to basically table sugar. And yeah, look, when I stopped drinking, I loved it. It was great. I felt a lot better, but my wife was pretty ill, and my daughter was very young at the time, and it was a very stressful time. And I was kind of doing a bit of a single dad thing for a while, and it was tough. And I distinctly remember sitting there one evening, eating a packet of chocolate chip cookies, and I'd got sort of like halfway through, and I was like, I'm not enjoying these, but I was still eating them. They were making me feel bad. They were making me feel uncomfortable, and
Look, and that's the other thing as well. Sorry to interrupt you. That when I quit smoking, then carbs show up to my life, because when I wasn't smoking, I was not hungry. So same happened to you with the chocolate, right?
So I was eating these cookies, and I was realizing that I didn't enjoy them, but I felt compelled to eat them. And it was a big light bulb moment for me, because what I realized was I was eating in the same way that I had been drinking. And that's when I decided to change my diet.
You identified the pattern again, right?
Yeah. And I went through those 5 steps again. I realized that, my number one problem was my diet. And I've changed that. And now I don't eat very much processed food at all. And I don't feel that compulsion to eat. So I think there is absolutely an addictive element in it. But in some ways, it's way harder. I mean, like...
So where do you find the strength, Duncan? Where do you find the strength? Where do you find the strength? Because, man, you quit alcohol and then you quit chocolate. This requires a very strong drive.
Oh, honestly, I am not anything special. I am not a superhuman. I really am not an exceptional person. And if you don't believe me, I'll get my wife on. She'll put you right.
No, we believe you. We believe you 100%. You
honestly,
very happy, very healthy.
I'm not that strong. I just used the process, and I just kept using the process. I used the same process to stop smoking, to stop drinking, to change my diet. The reason why I think it's hard is not because going through that process is hard. I just think... society has changed its attitude towards tobacco in the last 20 years. And now we don't see tobacco quite the way we did 20 years ago. I think alcohol is going in that direction. We're starting to change our attitude towards alcohol. You're starting to see a lot more alcohol-free brands. You're starting to see a lot more people choosing sobriety for performance to improve their ability as in business or in sport or in various areas of life. So we're seeing a change in that.
Sugar also in the supermarket. In the supermarket now, the soft drink that have sugar, I noticed that the Coca-Cola, the normal one that have a lot of sugar, is way more expensive than the other one. I think maybe the government is putting some tax on this as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are making moves around food, but at the moment,
long way to go.
There is a long way to go. And what I sort of like, I go to the supermarket and I buy primarily fruit and veg. I buy a lot of beans and I buy a lot of whole grains, and I go to about 15% of the supermarket. There is this huge bit of
Exactly.
the supermarket that I
Exactly.
just don't go to. And I think that's part of the problem. We're just surrounded by, cheap
100%.
calories, and they've been designed by people who are far smarter than me, who have degrees in chemical bodgery or whatever it is, and they've precisely calculated the amount of salt, fat, and sugar that is going to tempt you to eat it, and
Yeah.
that's what you've got to kind of fight against. And that the deck is somewhat stacked against us. The tobacco industry still spends billions advertising tobacco. Vaping, they spend billions advertising that. The alcohol is advertised 3 times more than the average product. Again, junk food, just think how many adverts you see for
Yeah, and
Uber Eats or
the
for
products sometimes, the products even in the supermarket, they put zero fat, right? Or they remove the fat from the product, and actually the good fat is good for the body. You know what is bad for body? Sugar.
well, yeah, zero
That's what is
fat,
bad for
98%
for the
sugar.
body. But actually, for the cells need good fat, So had been a lot of marketing messages, against the fat. Obviously, no, there are good fats, but exactly with the carbs, like you described, right? There are good carbs, and there are carbs that they are more processed that actually create an addiction. They are designed for that. They have gluten. They have a lot of things that somehow make you addicted, right? And then, and the same way with the processed sugars, the cakes, and the things like this. But fruit have natural sugar, yeah. The like you described, the vegetables have natural carbs and fiber, like you described, right? So
Yeah,
the fat, the olive oil and the avocado, and it has good fat that they're actually necessary, and the fish oils, they're necessary for your cells to work properly. So all we have to do is to eat good fat, good carbs, and good sugar, and we're gonna be okay, right?
yeah. No, I mean,
And nuts
I always like
also.
to quote Michael Pollan on this one. If it grew on a plant, eat it. If it came from a plant, don't eat it. It's kind of simple, isn't it? The problem is we have just destroyed food culture. Nobody cooks anymore. Why would you cook? You can just go into the supermarket and buy a bunch of stuff that you reheat. And all right, look, you saved yourself 15 minutes, but honestly, what what is the cost of that? What does that do to the rest of your life? Are you not just mortgaging your future?
Talk about how you get rid of the addiction then. How we get rid of the addiction to go to a supermarket like you do and just go to the 15% of the supermarket, yeah, and go home. Just visiting 15% of the supermarket and go home. Now, the rest of the people that have an addiction or a habit, let's talk about habit, that have a habit to explore the whole supermarket and buy a lot of things. So
Yeah, so
they are good. That some things that are good, some things that they are not good. Yeah. So how can we work in our habits to make about the buying food process a good habit? Just visiting 15% of the supermarket, which is something that is good for our health, is good for our life, and just go and ignore the rest, which is same similar process with the cigarettes, with the coffee, and with the alcohol, right? You have to just
yeah,
change the habit. You have to work with your unconscious mind, and you have to go to this process that you described. Is that also possible with the food?
absolutely. That is essentially what I did. I looked at my life, realized that my number one priority was changing my diet. I focused on that. I looked at my beliefs around it. I managed the thoughts, and I celebrate. And nothing says celebration quite like a mango, in my opinion. But the thing that I think is different about me and a lot of people is I don't even see it. I don't see the food in the supermarket because I don't
Wow,
think of it as food
that's
anymore.
really powerful.
I look at McDonald's and I don't see food. I see, well, it's almost ideally, I'd like to see kind of a blank space, but there's lots of flashing lights, and that I run 3 times a week, and I run past a McDonald's quite a lot, and they had this advert up for it was birthday cake donuts. And I was like, well, there you go, my friend. That is absolutely everything that is wrong with the world. How often are you supposed to have birthday cake? Well, I mean, once a year, ultimately. But no, all right, you've got friends. So you get invited to parties. So maybe you have birthday cake once a month, once every 3 weeks, something like that. 16, 18 times a year. That's the most amount of time you should be having birthday cake. You definitely should not be going to McDonald's and having a birthday cake donut on a Tuesday. It just doesn't make any sense. So when I see that, I don't think, oh, look, there is a tasty food item. I just think, look, that is what is wrong with the world. I honestly, I don't see it as food anymore. I see it as a food-like obesity product.
And the reason it look amazing, the people go there, and that's the other thing, Duncan. People go there because of price, because it's cheap compared with the other food. But you can argue the other food is expensive because it's good food, correct?
Well, you know what? I mean, anybody who tells you that carrots, onions, brown rice, and chickpeas is expensive just hasn't been to the supermarket recently. Honestly, you give me £3, I could feed 4 people for, I could cook you a very nice
good food,
dinner.
right?
Yeah. You've just got to cook it. You can spend a lot of money if you want to eat nothing but avocados and asparagus. You will spend a lot of money on vegetables, but most vegetables are actually quite cheap. And
the problem is that you have to cook them.
Well, that's not a problem. I mean, personally,
exactly. It's how you see it, correct?
I get quite a lot of satisfaction from cooking. It's one of the ways that I find to be reliably creative. It's one of the ways that I find to reliably show my family that I care for them and I love them and I want to look after them. It's something that brings us together. It's something that unites us. And honestly, I batch cook. I don't do it every day. I just spend a couple of hours on a Sunday, and I can make all of my lunches, my wife's lunches and my daughter's lunches, all of our lunches for the week, all of our dinners for the week. Means I then might do a bit of cooking Friday and Saturday, but in general, I just cook once a week, and it does pretty much everything.
And also, this is how you put on your mind. If you exactly like you said, like you're doing that and you're doing it for your family, for the people that you love, and you want for them to eat healthy, you take this as a commitment and you actually enjoy it. I spend time with my mom, and I cook, and give me a lot of joy to cook for her, right? Because I know that what I'm cooking is healthy, and I'm gonna give it to her, and she's old, and most of the time she's alone, so when I'm around, I like to cook to make sure that she gets, the best food ever, cook for her. And naturally, that gives me a lot of pleasure. So
yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, I've been to enough funerals where people just talk about the food that usually their parent cooked for them. It's such a common theme in eulogies that you should have tried my mum's pasta sauce. Like it was like literally it is one of the main ways that we bond as human beings, one of the main ways we show the people that we love them. And I wouldn't miss that, really.
It's about the issue Duncan and I see is that society is training us from really young to eat this fast food, to don't cook, to look at the internet, instant gratification, and within, if you don't have a society trainer with these values, on top of that you have an addiction, you have to reprogram and change your values and change the way that you behave in general in order to come back to what was normal, right? Because back in the day, that was normal. I remember when I was a kid, all my food, I was living in Cuba, all my food was literally cooked, I was talking with my girlfriend the other day, that we do a dish, which is a Russian salad, which is a lot of vegetables and potatoes and everything. And she told me that it used to take a lot of time because you had to boil everything. You had to boil the potato, you had to boil the carrot, you had to boil this, and then to put everything together. So it's a lot of time. And I'm thinking, wow. Well, today you just buy frozen the whole thing. You do it, and you do the whole thing in a fraction of the time. Yeah. So Duncan, next question: if people are in love with our conversation, yeah, and they want to explore more your system, yeah, how you can help them to overcome addiction, which I think is really important. I think that the first step that everybody should doing out there, or the entrepreneurs listening, or the public in general, is number one, knowledge that you have a problem, yeah, and you need help, yeah. If you don't pass this barrier, it's gonna be almost impossible, yeah, because like Duncan, you see that Duncan have an addiction with alcohol, and then he quit, and then he got addicted to sugar and chocolate, and then he quit. So how is he quitting so easy when we all know that this is a hard process? Because he has a system, he has a process that that help you to change the behavior, and that's help you to achieve the goal. Yeah. So having a mentor, having a coach is key, not only in achieving overcome addiction, or it's key in overcoming any goal that you want to achieve in your life. Yeah. Someone that has done it, that have a process that can help you. Now, addictions, they can destroy yourself, they can destroy your health, they can destroy your family, they can destroy your friends. They can, it's one of the biggest poison, because when you are in this state of mind, let's face it, you don't care about anything. You don't care about your children, you don't care about your wife, you don't care about, all you care is about this is the most important thing in your life. Sadly, this is how bad addiction is. So Duncan, tell us, if somebody wants to work with the addictions and need some help, how they can find you, how the process works.
Yeah, so I think the easiest way to get in touch with me is just to put getover.uk into the internet. I mean, actually, I'm very easy to find if you can spell Bhaskaran Brown, but most people can't even pronounce it. So, most people, though, can spell getover.uk. So put getover.uk into your favored search engine, and it will take you to a bit of my website where you can download a copy of my first book, Get Over Indulgence. That mostly
show it to us. Show it.
It's that one up the top there.
Take it. Take it in your hand.
Oh, no, I can't. It's glued to the shelf because it kept falling down. So I had to glue it to the shelf.
How about how to quit?
So it's not actually a step-by-step how-to thing. It is just my journey, how I went from, drinking and smoking and eating rubbish to health and joy and happiness and peace and focus and all of that good stuff. You might learn something whilst you read it, but mostly I just want people to think of it as a kind of enjoyable, slightly funny little story. So that's my gift to your readers. They can download that for free at getover.uk. But that is also a page on our website. So, all of the stuff that we do is on there. We've got some coaching programs, but you just get in touch. If you've got any questions, just find me on the socials. All the links to the socials are on the website as well. Like I say, I always come up if you write Bhaskaran Brown in. Very easy to find.
Don't worry, they will spell it properly. When they identify that they have the problem and they want to work on it, and they take the decision that enough is enough, they will spell it properly.
Yeah.
These I can
actually,
sure.
If you want to find out how to spell it, it's very easy. Just go to Amazon and put Real Men Quit, because you can spell Real Men Quit. Put that into Amazon. That'll take you to where you can get a copy of my my latest book, Real Men Quit. And my name is on the front of that, so you can copy it out. Get on the socials. Seriously, if you've got any questions, please get in touch. I love talking about this sort of stuff. It is my joy, my pleasure, my mission. So if you've got any questions, please reach out, ask. I might not be able to help you, but if I can't, I do know somebody who can.
Yeah, and anyway, all these details will be in the description of this video on Spotify, Apple, and on our social media, so you can find in the description. Duncan, have been a pleasure. You're amazing. You're brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Yes, and you see, in life you have two choices, right? You can choose your state. You can choose to be miserable. You can choose to blame everybody, to blame the government, to blame your friends, to blame your parents for the situation that you are, and then go and drink and or you lost a lot of money in business, and then you got depressed and you start drinking and smoking and you don't want to see anything and you want to start to blame everybody, or you can take responsibility for who you are and who you want to become and ask for help, find a mentor, and overcome the situation and start to live your real life, because we believe that all entrepreneurs out there, they should be, we want them to be healthy, wealthy, and happy. Yeah, and changing your habits is a big part of it. So thank you so much, Duncan, and for all of you. See you in our next episode from Entrepreneurs Are Leaders. Well, amazing entrepreneurs like Duncan develop the business to change the world. Bye for now.
Follow us for more on charismatic speaking, leadership, exponential business growth, branding, marketing, strategies designed to help you monetize your knowledge, find true happiness, and manifest your goals and dreams.